Things haven't been easy lately. After my breakup, moving back in with my parents seemed like the only option. My folks have a cozy place out in western Massachusetts. Quiet, peaceful. At least, that's what I thought. I picked up shifts at the local urgent care, the graveyard slot. It paid better and the solitude suited me. The other night, I got off at 4 in the morning, swing by the bagel place, grab a coffee and a bagel, then hit the road. I stopped at a Shell station to fill up. As I was paying, a man at the counter kept staring at me. His eyes were cold, calculating. It sent chills down my spine. Pulling into the driveway, I noticed how eerily quiet the house was. My parents were usually up by now. I fumbled for my keys, heart pounding. What if something happened? I crept through the house, calling out their names. Relief washed over me when I found them both sound asleep in their beds. Must have been a long night for them. Little did I know, the real nightmare was just beginning. As I turned to leave their room, I saw a shadowy figure lurking in the hallway. My heart raced as the figure moved closer, its presence suffocating. I backed away in fear, but in an instant it vanished into the darkness. Later that week, it happened. I was home alone, a storm raging outside. The wind howled like a banshee, rattling the old windows. Suddenly, I heard a crash from downstairs. My blood ran cold. Grabbing a heavy iron from my closet, I crept down the stairs. Each step felt like an eternity. The basement door creaked open, revealing a shadowy figure rummaging through our things. "Get out!" I screamed, my voice trembling. The intruder turned, his eyes wide with surprise. He lunged at me. I swung the iron with all my might, connecting with a sickening thud. He crumpled to the floor. I scrambled back, my heart pounding in my chest. He lay there, unmoving. I called 911, my voice shaking as I reported the break-in. The police arrived quickly, but he was gone, vanished. As I continued driving, the road seemed to stretch endlessly into the darkness. The trees on either side cast long, sinister shadows that danced in the faint glow of my headlights. Suddenly, my headlights caught a glimpse of a figure standing in the middle of the road. I slammed on the brakes, heart racing. The car screeched to a halt just inches away from the figure. For a moment, everything was still. The figure slowly turned to face me, revealing a grotesque, twisted face, like something out of a nightmare. I couldn't move, paralyzed by fear. Its eyes seemed to bore into my soul, its mouth twisted into a ghastly grin. The figure started walking towards my car, each step echoing in the silence. The sound of gravel crunching under its feet sent chills down my spine. I fumbled for the gear shift, my hands trembling, desperate to escape. The closer it got, the more I felt an overwhelming sense of dread. Just as the figure reached my window, its hand reaching out, I managed to drive away, tires screeching as I sped off into the night. The image of that horrifying face burned into my memory, haunting me long after I had left the road behind. A few weeks later, I decided to visit my brother in Florida. Needed to get away, clear my head. I was driving through New Jersey around 6 in the evening when I stopped at a Wendy's. I was starving. As I pulled up to the drive-thru, I noticed a man standing by the speaker. He looked vaguely familiar, but I couldn't place him. He gestured to me, a desperate look on his face. "Excuse me," he said, his voice raspy. "My car broke down. Could you help me?" Something about his smile felt off, predatory. My gut screamed at me to get out of there. I mumbled an apology, rolled up my window, and drove away as fast as I could. I could see him in my rearview mirror, watching me go. The feeling of dread lingered for miles. Later that night, I pulled into a deserted rest stop somewhere in the Carolinas. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting an eerie glow on the empty parking lot. I needed to use the restroom. As I walked in, I noticed a man standing at the urinal, his back to me. He was unnaturally still. I tried to ignore him, but something about his posture sent chills down my spine. It reminded me of the man at Wendy's. I finished up quickly and practically ran out of there. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, hunted. Every truck stop, every rest area, I half expected to see him again, waiting for me. The drive to Florida was agonizing. Even now, safe at my brother's place, the fear lingers. I can't shake the feeling that something is terribly wrong, that maybe, just maybe, I haven't outrun the shadows yet.